Hello, good afternoon, viewers at home. My name is Advanced Michael, and we are here again on our educational series. And today, this afternoon, we are going to talk on advanced toxicology, and that is the course we are going to consider today. And very importantly, we are going to talk on organ-specific toxicity. So, organ-specific toxicity, just like there are different kind of organs that are vulnerable to toxic substances in the body as a result of their unique nature. And part of these organs include the liver, kidney, um, lungs, the immune system, as well as some other very, very important organs that we tend to work collaboratively in order to be able to make sure that our body is continually being at a place of rest. And don't forget that also all this while we have been considering cellular mechanism, and what is called ROS all this while. And that is any kind of mechanism that will involve some cellular component of the cell, cellular processes and cellular activities of the cell. How are they being affected, and what we actually going to be their mechanism of action on these toxic substances? Don't forget that we are constantly being exposed to toxic substances even at our home. We are being exposed to it. We are being exposed to poison every time and every day. Don't forget I told us that a poison or a toxic substance is just anything that is being consumed that can have negative impact on our system. And that is why dose is very, very important. That is, dose response is very, very important. The route of exposure is very, very important. And the concentration, that is the dosage as well. And that is where we have actually been coming from all this while. So just like I said, specifically today, we are going to be concerned mostly on what is going to be the effect organ-specific toxicity. So that is what we are going to have ourselves to be very, very conversant with. Don't forget that toxicants could also be regarded as a poison. It could also be regarded as pollutants. It depends on what could be the source of that, and that is if it is coming from if we are being exposed to it from the place of our work, and that is called occupational hazard. And if it is environmental, that is called environmental. So all this will have their effect sometimes not only at cellular level. We can also have them cellular or molecular level, but we can also have them having their impact to be on the organ. And don't forget that that is the more reason why today we are going to first of all consider the organ. The first organ we are going to consider is what is actually regarded as hepatotoxicity. That is anything that has to do with liver, because we are talking of hepatic cells. Then again, the second thing we will do, we will also talk about neurotoxicity. So anything that affects the central nervous system, anything that has effect on the synapses or the neurons of the cell of our body is going to be classified as being regarded as neurotoxicity. Then anything that has to do with renal toxicity, from the word renal, that means we are directly being concerned with anything that's going to be involved in kidney, how kidney filtrate blood and eliminate waste from the body. We are going to see how these substances can actually impact their normal work, that is normal activity. Then we will also look at cardiotoxicity. This is a kind of toxicity that has to do with the heart. Anything that is concerned with cardiovascular membrane, cardiovascular tissue, or whatever. So we are going to see all this, and each of these we are going to consider their mechanism of actions and how can they manifest clinically. We are going to also consider that. The fifth one we are going to consider is also pulmonary toxicity. From the word pulmonary, that means it is a kind of toxicity that involve the lungs. So because it is dealing with a pulmonary this thing. And just like I said, the sixth one is going to be immunotoxicity. Immunotoxicity. So this is a kind of a toxicity that has effects on the organs of the body and thereby preventing them from performing their vital role, which has to do with protecting the body against pathogens. So then lastly, we will conclude this with considering what are endocrine disruption. That has to do with something that is going to lead to imbalance in the hormone, which could disrupt the reproductive, developmental, and other metabolic activities. So just like I said, why are we so interested in this topic? That is knowing the organ specific kind of toxicity. So it's going to help us to be able to understand the mechanism at which toxicants can affect our system, our body, in particular the organs of our body. Then it's going to also help us to be able to understand all these new pathways, and by that we will be able to apart from diagnosing them, we also be able to know how it can be treated and how it can be avoided. So just like I say, that is the synopsis of what I'm going to teach us today. That is the summary of it all. So just like I said, we are considering advanced toxicology. So, and just like it has been listed behind the camera, we have the first one we are going to look at is hepatotoxicity. So what do we mean by hepatotoxicity? So don't forget that anything that has to do with hepatic system, hepatic. So that is talking about liver. Don't forget the vital role played by liver is in detoxification, removal of bad products from the liver, making them or converting them into less toxic substance. So that has to do with what. So and anything that affects the liver that is going to have its effect directly or indirectly on the liver or on the this kind of organ. It could be e.g. it could be alcohol, in particular, very very common to be alcohol. Some certain drugs are involved, and alcohol, drugs, and basically some other environmental pollutants. All these are part of what can have their effects directly on cause hepatotoxicity. So, and how that one is able to, we are going to consider the mechanisms of hepatotoxicity. The first one is that it is going to cause what is called oxidative stress. It's going to lead to oxidative stress. Sometimes it can lead to what is called inflammation. That is a swelling of certain part of the body. Then it can also cause what is called mitochondria. Mitochondria in the liver to become dysfunctional. So mitochondrial dysfunction. So that is what is called hepatotoxicity and the mechanism of hepatotoxicity. And what are the clinical manifestations of hepatotoxicity? The first one is jaundice. yellowness. Okay, yellowness of the, you see, vital, then liver dysfunction, liver enzyme like cytochrome P450. So liver enzyme increase. Okay, then apart from that, it can also lead to what is called cirrhosis. Cirrhosis, or it can lead to liver cancer. Can lead to liver cancer. And some of the pollutants that fall into this category, very common one is acetaminophen. Acetaminophen. This is paracetamol. So this paracetamol. So if paracetamol is consumed beyond the measure, it can lead to hepatotoxicity or alcohol or drugs or some other pollutant. So and it can manifest itself in leading to a condition that is called liver enzyme increase. Can lead to increase in it. It can lead to a condition called liver cancer, cirrhosis, and so on and so forth. So that is that. The second organ, the second organ-specific toxicity that we will look at is going to be neurotoxicity. So just from what you can see, what you can hear from the word neuro, so this is a toxic substances that exert their effect on neurons, on synapses, or at the end of the day, it can lead to damage by this. So that is when the neurons, synapses are being targeted as a result of their effect of chemicals or effect of toxicants on them. So, and their mechanism of action, mechanism of hepatotoxicity. So that is, how does neurotoxicity take place? Okay, so the first manifestation, the first one is that it can lead to damage of vital component of the brain. So just like I said, synapses, glial cells. Okay, apart from glial cells, there are other examples. So e.g., this is found in lead poisoning, mercury, and pesticides like the organochlorine, or organophosphates. So all these are part of toxicants that can target the neurons. Then apart from this, what are the clinical manifestations of neurotoxicity? So this can lead to that is their effect. It can lead to memory loss. It can lead to motor dysfunction. That is neurotoxicity can lead to motor dysfunction. Okay. Then apart from that, it can also affect synapses signaling. So the brain will not be able to coordinate or communicate with certain neurons. So That is an example. And another one is going to lead to what is called a condition called Parkinson or anemia, or a disease which is known as anemia. Okay, that is anything that has to do with neurotoxicity. Okay, the don't forget, I said hepatotoxicity is a kind of toxicity of the liver. So, and we have given you example of that, like alcohol, drugs, certain drugs like paracetamol, other environmental pollutant as well. And the mechanism of action or the mechanism of hepatotoxicity involve oxidative stress. Is going to sometimes it can lead to inflammation and also mitochondrial dysfunction. So then another thing is it can also lead to all these disease condition. That is their clinical manifestation. That is, if you want to know how would they manifest at the end of the day, because whatever might be the organ level toxicity is going to have its effect on the organ. And don't forget that the effect could be chronic or it could be acute. You know what all this what it means. So the second one, which has to do with neurotoxicity, that is when the neurological cells is being affected. That's anything that has to do with involving the central nervous system, the synapses, and the glial cells. Okay, and example of those that can lead to that include heavy metals, most especially lead, mercury, and pesticide, in particular organophosphate. And this could be their effect: memory loss, it could lead to motor dysfunction, or it could lead to synapses dysfunction, and it can also lead to what is called a degenerative synapses loss, or a condition that is called Parkinson disease or ischemia. So the third one is going to be renal. So this is kind of toxicity that involves the kidney. Don't forget the vital role kidney plays in the body. That is, they are the one that will eliminate waste. They filter the blood. By the time they filter the blood, I mean, they filtrate the blood. By the time they filtrate the blood to remove harmful substances from it, and through that they will be able to pass it to the urinary cells, and it can be excreted from the body, such as ammonia and some other. So any toxicological effect that targets the kidney is known as a renal toxicity. And the mechanism of action, so just like I said, it can have direct effects. The effect can be direct on the kidney. Okay, apart from direct effect, sometimes it can also lead to a condition that is called NSAID. NSAID means non-steroidal anti-inflammatory drugs. Can cause that. Okay, so then some drugs can cause it. Mercury and cadmium. These are example of toxicants that target the renal system or the renal organ, which is the kidney, and it can lead to a condition, can lead to certain types of condition, clinical manifestation as a acute renal failure, Okay, then another thing is it can lead to proteinuria. That is when you will a condition that you continually excrete protein from the body. The protein that's supposed to be functional in the system in your body. At the end of the day, this is going to be excreted in the body, or it can also accumulate protein in the system. instead of that. Then it can also lead to electrolyte imbalance. So you should know that there are